don't take accountability.
Right.
Don't take accountability. Right? Blaming everyone else. How do you deal with people like that? And I mean, personally, how do you deal with them? Because I guess, or would it be the same way as you would professionally?
Yeah, personally, professionally, it's all the same. These are questions that we get asked on a regular basis, and we definitely got a lot of them online. Is these? How do you deal with people that don't take accountability? How do you deal with leadership that doesn't get the message that you are communicating? Right. So, just so we can both understand, very out of the gate here, both those questions. What do both those questions do?
What, this question?
Both these two questions, they have something in common. How do you deal with people that don't take accountability, and people that don't get the message that you're communicating?
You're not taking accountability.
You're blaming these other people. You're blaming them for not taking accountability, and you're blaming them for not understanding your message.
Right.
Whose fault is that?
Your own. If you're taking extreme ownership, that's your fault.
100% of the time. Yeah. So if I'm a leader and my people aren't taking responsibility for their actions, that's not their fault. It's my fault. I have not shown them how to lead properly. I haven't shown them how to take accountability. And how do you do that? Hey, if Echo does something wrong, I don't go, Echo, you screwed this up. I say, Echo, this went wrong. It's my fault that I didn't explain it to you well enough. I'm not going to talk to you, baby, but like, hey, what do we do wrong? How do we make this happen? You got to take ownership of it. And what does that make Echo do? That makes Echo say, oh, you know what? No, it was my fault. You know what I mean? So both those questions, how do I solve those problems? I take ownership of them. That's number one. Number two, what do I do? Because to take ownership of them isn't quite enough here. We need to be smarter than that. We need to play chess. So what I always try and do from a leadership perspective is I always try and understand the perspective that other people have. This kind of goes to detachment. I got to detach from my own head, and I got to see it from their perspective so I can understand, what does it look like from Echo's viewpoint? What does it look like from my most junior guy that's not doing what I want him to do? Why isn't he doing it? What is he seeing from his perspective? Okay, my boss doesn't understand what I'm trying to communicate to him. Guess what? What is his perspective? How do I detach from my own head, see what his perspective is? Because once I see his perspective, I can adjust it.
Right.
So it's very important to try and understand other people's perspectives. And it's usually not that hard. People are often, pretty easy to read. And as soon as you leave your own head and get into theirs, you'll see how you can change the scenario and make them understand it better. So those are two big pieces.
Yeah, that's another one that applies to everything. And how you were saying these are simple steps, but
simple but not
easy. Yeah. Because man, to get out of your own head and
it's hard. It definitely is challenging,
especially in these pressure situations.
Where emotions are involved, and you start getting fired up. People are yelling, or there's capital at risk, or jobs at risk, or lives at risk. It's definitely hard to do that. And guess what? Those situations where it's hardest to do are the most critical times, where you need to step back, calm down, step outside your own head. Don't see the emotions. Let your ego go. Understand other people's perspectives. That's when you need to do it the most.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.